Hello, Sweet Tooth and Flutter Pyrox is here. Gonna play more Phoenix Attorney. Phoenix Wright Attorney.
How does a phoenix?
You're Phoenix.
Caw-caw.
Caw-caw. Whoop!
You're cute.
Whoop whoop!
You're cute.
Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble.
Don't worry about it. It's my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals.
No,
Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later.
no, come back. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around all while on duty. And on top of that, you call me here. I see happier people at funerals. Doing this again, huh?
I take it Lana's having you run errands again.
Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here. She asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial.
Evidence law. Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. Solana wants to force me to read evidence law.
Chief
Fine.
Prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. Read the dang book.
Sure she does. Who reads books these days? Come on.
You, Mr. Wright. Now read.
Wait, it's not even in my evidence list. I can't really read it.
He hasn't given it to you yet.
Oh. A message?
He said, if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book.
Him. Him, like Powerpuff Girls. Him.
Wait a minute, I thought Gumshoe got fired.
I thought so too.
I guess they let him back in the force, just didn't give him his ID for a bit.
Guess so. I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read.
He didn't say he was gonna go follow Gent around and see if he can get his job back. I guess it worked.
Guess so.
Doesn't look like that good book will do you any good now, though.
What are you talking about? Lana's like, hey, read the book. I'll read the book. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Okay, fine, Ron, I read it.
All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence.
That's where you're wrong, detective.
Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? While I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat. Despite all these allegations being thrown at me. Mr. Edgeworth. The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What else is there left to do, pal? Credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she unwittingly caused a man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal.
You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there.
What?
And we're going to expose him. No matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Alright.
Serial killer's final victim, Mr. Edgeworth's career.
Mr. Edgeworth's ego.
Probably.
Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor.
The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions.
Thank you for the news, Your Honor.
Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have,
Struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses?
I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking, and...
Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution.
A solution?
That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses.
What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing.
Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well, the defense accepts the prosecution's proposal.
You already got fired.
Yeah.
How are they perfectly fine with you continuing? Like, even if Edgeworth kept going, wouldn't Lana be the one defending herself and then she just try to do a poor job?
Yeah. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness.
Mr. Wright? You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over.
The defense calls. Time's finally come to bring out the real murderer.
Who's the real murderer? Meekins! Bring out Meekins!
Meekins!
I kind of want to see what happens if you bring out the wrong people. Like, will they have a different one for each person?
I can't save.
Aw. Well, looks like you'll just get a 2-bar penalty. You want to bring out the wrong person and just accept the 2 bars?
Nah.
See if they do anything.
Now let's get Damon King. Oh my god, he's 65?
Oh, wow.
Meekins is 22. Jake Marshall's 33. Bruce Goodman's 36.
Gumshoe looks way older than 30.
Yeah.
I like his bald scruff. Oh, she was 14 at the time.
Damon Gaunt. The defense calls Damon Gaunt to the stand. Damon Gaunt? What does he have to do with anything? As a defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gaunt has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it.
As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse.
Lurking somewhere.
Yep, lurking. He would also have been the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor?
True. Alright, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gaunt to the stand.
Witness, please state your name and occupation.
What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was on my way, just on my way to lunch.
Name and occupation, sir.
Worthy, are you sure you want to do this?
Your name and occupation.
So, you want to play hardball, eh? But please, Mr. Gaunt. Fine. My name is Jamin Gaunt. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gaunt, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto! What's with the green vase? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh? Like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave, or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal? Weapons? Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify.
Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks.
Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony. SL9 incident. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see, everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. SL9 incident. So if I press him and he doesn't feel like continuing, he'll just stop it?
Yes.
Oh boy.
He can just stop you at any time. However, the thing is, once he stops you, he refuses all right to say anything on the matter. So in other words, you and Edward can just talk around him while he says nothing. Just say whatever you feel like. And if he says anything, then that's his problem.
Dang.
It means that he refuses the right to say, and he refuses the need to say anything, but he also refuses his right to say anything. It's basically a barrier that works two ways.
Huh.
Which is why it's a danger. Probably trying to avoid using it if he doesn't have to, because then you can just make up whatever you want.
So I guess I'm gonna try to press him as I normally do. See how that comes about. See how that changes all this. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that.
Was the defendant Lana Skye also present in the room?
I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky.
What's this about a power outage?
Oh, that? The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when that knife went through his heart, though.
He is really calm about that.
Yeah. That's not funny.
Is he like a sociopath or something?
Yeah, he's a sociopath, that's for sure. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor? Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls, Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done.
Okay, so during this testimony, there are two things you can do here, but only one of them will actually keep the case going. The other one will basically tell you you're an idiot for not reading evidence law.
Oh, let's see what I get. Apparently she had already arranged this crime scene. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. If it had already been moved.
So that means you found the body near Lana's desk?
That's right. I think you said earlier, it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Yes. Anyway. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office? That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt. But moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down?
Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd better off staring at the court record.
Worthy, always a smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. Alright, so how do I link him? Let's see. Alright, so as I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. It had nothing to do with the forgery. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example. That's a list Emma Skye drew her picture on. This was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of this jar that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Oh! Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery? Who? Me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found the evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do it too. Isn't that right, Righto?
However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation.
Were they, my boy? Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, you'll end up paying the work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. When investigating a crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh. Indeed. I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, Edgy. But in return, though. I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys? Telepathic? Evidence and forgery. You know, just for giggles. Yeah, I had a feeling that would work. I just wanted to see.
That was the one that would have gotten you the read evidence law door.
Yeah, that's what I think of. I think that was the one that would lead to law, evidence law. Like,
You haven't proven the connection yet.
yeah, I gotta prove the connection. That's why I didn't even touch that one the first time. I was like, that's like pulling it out of thin air and saying, look at this. That wouldn't work.
Especially against the chief of police. It works against other people. But he'd just be like, evidence law. Get rid of that.
Yeah. I'd appreciate it if you stopped making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped... Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later.
Later? What are you talking about?
What else? I'm talking about when Rito's prints are found. Yes. If they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal.
Yeah, if you don't get him now, he's gonna push charges on you.
Yeah. Grr, I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Oh boy. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient?
Right. The chief is talking about a possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, only succeed in wasting time.
Tell me something I don't know. Come on, Ryan. Come now, Righto. Think about it. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here.
He seems to find joy in saying that.
Yeah. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable. A little. Is that true, Edgeworth?
Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway.
Gah! Be careful when pointing that finger. You might wind up being the one pointed at.
So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else.
Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There. It's out in the open now. Aji, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me.
That's pretty much just begging us to tell you what there was in it for you.
Huh. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me.
Lana. You can hold it over her.
Yeah. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again.
You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone.
Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised.
You seem to be laxing up on yourself, though.
Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? True, you might not help anyone for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand.
What?
That's not what I mean. Very well, then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Lana. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky. The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Sky fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. The book series?
Apparently.
Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Sky was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But, how would he profit from all this?
You'll be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations.
Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets?
What?
What? Oh, wait.
An idiot.
You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive, to appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you can control her. Righto, my boy, you have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture.
Unless that is also what happened in this incident.
This incident? Or which one would that be?
Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. Chief prosecutors have been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her.
Worthy! You'd better watch your tongue.
How dare you accuse me?
I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? What? Order, order, order. I said order. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language.
Now you're blaming Edgeworth. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now.
It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? Oh my god. That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question.
Regardless of rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell.
I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence
Because I am
that
the
ties
judge
Chief
and I am
Gant to
biased.
the murder of Detective Goodman. Huh. I mean, do I show this? Files for the drugs are solved. I mean, I think so, but this is gonna get me in trouble. Let's do it. Well, Chief, So long as Righto here is tossing out things regardless of their relevance. Mind if I toss something too udgy? This shoe should do nicely. I'll chuck it right at you. You always were quite a joker, weren't you? Oops, looks like I got it wrong. Don't oops me. Maybe this boot to the head will knock some sense into you. I know it's hard to all that's gone on during the trial. But try to think back to what happened in the evidence room 4 days ago.
You're reading mine.
Yeah. Now that he mentions it, we did find something during yesterday's investigation. Something that proves Gant entered that room. Looks like he wants another one of your boots, Udgy. So the judge just threw a boot at me?
I think it was Gant that threw a boot.
Oh, it's a jar, isn't it?
Nope.
What?
You have to prove how he was related to Bruce Dibman's murder. Not how you're related to the old incident.
Wait. Well, Chief? Oh, that didn't work either.
What was it?
Dang it.
What did you show them?
ID card thing.
Yeah, so you can say on here, present ID card record.
Oh, I'm an idiot. Did I show Goodman's lost item report? Damn it. So I got another boot thrown at me. Damn it.
Yeah, you have both of his shoes.
I got both of his shoes. Judge, do you have any shoes left? You want to throw one more at me? For good measure? Bring it. Bring it, Judge. Bring it.
Well, I think it was Gant taking off the judge's shoes and throwing them at you. Which makes it even weirder, doesn't it?
Yeah. Come on, I'm on the defense here. Throw them at me. Yes, the one that shows you who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean. I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7 sevens. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Now you're tied to it. Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing.
He's angry.
The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations.
And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card.
Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want.
I can do what I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone?
I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have had met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt.
No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. Chief Gant met with the victim on the day of the crime. And we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting?
In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Shows proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Oh boy.
Why would the victim had to have met with Chief Gant? He set up for an evidence transfer, so he needed to get his evidence from then and there in order to carry it out. But he couldn't.
Lost item report?
It can only be submitted to the Chief of Police.
Oh.
So if he had submitted that report at any point, he would have had to go talk to Gant.
Oh, okay. I got it. Detective Goodman lost his ID on the day of the crime.
Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it.
So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait. The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort.
Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. You showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it wouldn't have been found. It would have been found on his body.
No. No! Chief Gant, you didn't. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course.
You're forgetting, Mr. Wright. The victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there?
I was at the police department the entire day, you know.
And everyone's aware that Lana Sky stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony.
Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you! Take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time, I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us the evidence. No, always show you the evidence. Don't worry, Judge, I always have evidence.
I was getting tired of showing evidence.
To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. The screwdriver.
You can't use the screwdriver to move the body.
This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? What does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here?
It's here because... Ah!
Yep.
You don't even want it, this stupid piece of shit.
Yep.
Yeah, if Edgeworth was caught with the body, then it would just mean that Edgeworth was likely the killer. And no one will believe that him having that piece saying Chief Gant told him to bring him that.
Yeah.
After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office.
But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to.
You mean I...
The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Sky. Order! 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 What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph.
Entirely on the Gant's side.
Yeah. Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in a trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite.
A photo of body being taken from the trunk.
Chief Gant, please say something. I believe... Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
So you're going to just run away after all this?
Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gaunt is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof.
Well, I had to switch the knife in him.
Yeah. You and your proof, Judge. Ugh. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor? Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gaunt murdered Detective Goodman and made this guy dispose of his body? Do I have any proof? Yeah. I can't let him just squirm his way out of this. Gotta keep the pressure on. Yes, Your Honor. I do have such evidence. Then please hurry up and present it. Just remember, you better prove Chief Gaunt murdered Detective Goodman beyond a shadow of doubt. So you mean do the knife?
I think the knife had to be switched. The other one. That was the one that was originally in Goodman. That's what I'm thinking, at least. I gotta look this one up, so I'm actually going with instinct right now.
Let's try it. So, what exactly is this evidence? It's proof as to whether or not it's enough to demonstrate the chief's guilt. I'll let you be the judge. But I am the judge. All right. Well, what do you think, Your Honor?
He thinks that we're being stupid.
What I think, Mr. Wright, is I'm going to be late for lunch.
Darn it.
Dang.
What do perfumes want? Oh, you don't have proof yet. You were supposed to say I have none, and then the judge will penalize you. You automatically get a penalty.
Oh, really?
Yes, this is part where you're supposed to take a penalty by saying you have no proof.
What if you have no credibility left?
You lose. No matter what part you are in the case, you immediately lose.
Jeez.
Even if you've already proven your suspect innocent, they're automatically deemed guilty.
It's no use showing evidence. I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. Huh. See, Yaji? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Yaji, I'll leave the rest to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. What?
Lady Luck, maybe we should have a word with her.
Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean?
There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing your testimony.
A lady who knows the truth. Another witness.
In absence of conclusive evidence, only one other method of proof is testimony.
But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify.
There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions. Raising this trial. Someone right in this very room.
Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person?
Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today.
Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist?
Wait, we've got a different question.
She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth. Lana?
Is that who you want to talk to?
Guess so. Or is it lunch lady? Miss Lana. The defendant, Miss Lana Sky? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task, to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor.
Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in
Hold on.
Huh?
Gant came back.
Hold on. Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Ah.
See, he's flat out
This isn't
blackmailing
good.
her in the middle of court.
Yeah, in front of everyone.
Yeah. See? This doesn't help his stance at all.
Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyways, right? Just as something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. Jeez Louise.
Looks like we managed to stay in the game.
Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth.
That chief. Something else, eh, pal?
Detective Gumshoe.
I'm not a detective anymore.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Then why'd you say the detective was on the clock? Oh, don't worry, I already decided where to work now. At your office.
My office?
Sure. I'll take the place of that top naughty girl you used to work with.
Could he mean Mia?
Still. Looks like we're all out of moves now.
Fine.
Chief Stanton's done it again. How he always gets the upper hand. Would Condon be perfectly okay with giving Detective Gonshu a job?
Yeah, sure, why not? He could be my break-in buddy. It's not fair he has to right to refuse testify.
Settle down, right?
No! Not fair! Yeah! Take that!
Condon's fine with Detective Gonshu as long as he's willing to break into places.
Yeah. When Mr. Wright throws a temper tantrum, he goes, "Objection! Objection!" Alright.
Remember what the judge said?
Yep. Yes. I do. Risks! Just like risk the game. What did he mean by that?
It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true.
You mean he forfeits his right to say anything, too? Oh. Emma, are you okay?
Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery.
So, she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before.
No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved.
Relieved?
Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. I think all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible band. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean, pal? What do you think I mean? She followed Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. She forced herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do.
That must be why she became so cold.
It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now, pal. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. He can't maybe able to fool everyone else with his forgery. But he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor.
I see.
Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act.
Emma, why don't you wait?
No, I'm going with you. I want to be there. When Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. So we just got one of them on murder and another one on assisting a murder.
Yep.
And we were just trying to keep one murder charge off of them.
Yeah.
I think we just made things worse by accident.
We just made everything worse. Everything worse. Alright, so apparently this is going to be a 3-hour trial. We're already 2 hours in. It's an hour and 8 minutes so far on this video. So we're going to cut it here, just so it's not too long.
Okay, looks like the next one will be the last one.
It's like a movie.
Is it good?
No, I mean like 3 hours long. Like usually movies are like 2 hours long.
It's longer than a movie.
Oh my gosh. Alright, anyways, that's going to do it for this video. We'll pick it up in the next one. Want to thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment. Hope you have yourself a good day, pal. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.